Hey everyone, wanted to hop on here and discuss a topic that I think is super important and something that a lot of our patients go through, and that is why the rehab process is unfortunately not a straight linear process. What do I mean by that? A lot of times people think when they go through the rehab process that it is going to be a linear line where you're just going to make improvement, 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 improvement. Unfortunately, what happens is usually there's a lot of ups and downs, and it's actually an anomaly if it is a straight linear process or recovery process. There's going to be ups and downs. And the main thing is as long as you are trending in the right direction, that is what we're looking for. Okay. And so the big thing is like you guys might be also wondering like, well, why isn't a linear process? That's what I thought it should be. Sometimes don't get me wrong, sometimes it can be, but I do want to discuss with you guys why it's not usually a linear process. And that's a big reason is because there's multiple factors that play a part in the pain that someone is experiencing and how they recover from an injury. Okay. So just to name a few, we've got sleep, we've got stress. Okay. Sleep, if we're not getting enough sleep at night, our bodies are not recovering. Okay. If our bodies aren't recovering, that means that injury isn't recovering the way that it should as well. Okay. So sleep plays a huge factor into things. Also stress. Okay. A lot of times when we're stressed, our body has a difficult time processing pain, and we are going to actually experience more pain the more stressed out that we are. Okay. So if things are happening in your personal life, that can actually impact your recovery as well. Okay. With overcoming an injury. Next thing, and this is a big one, is nutrition. All right. Nutrition plays a huge factor because are you drinking enough water throughout the day? Excuse me, are you ingesting enough protein so your body, so your muscles can repair themselves? Are you consuming a whole lot of sugar? If you're consuming a lot of sugar, there's going to be a lot more inflammation throughout the body as well. Okay, so if you can make sure that your water intake is where it needs to be, your protein consumption is where it needs to be, so your muscles can repair themselves and your body can repair itself more appropriately, and then also decreasing the amount of sugar that you're consuming, those three things are going to play a big factor into how you recover from an injury and what that process looks like as well. Okay. Another big thing is what is your positioning throughout the day like? Okay. Some people work, especially in the Bay Area, people are transitioning, doing half and half where they're working from home on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and then they're going to the office Tuesdays and Thursdays as they transition back into working in the office. Okay. So you might notice that, hey, I've got a standing desk. At when I go into the office. But when I'm at home, I'm sitting a lot more, right? So the position that you are going to be spending time in is going to play a big factor into how you are feeling throughout the day too. Especially if you have a low back injury and you're sitting quite a bit throughout the day, you're probably going to experience more pain than if you were standing, or being able to transition and change your body positioning throughout the day when you go to the office if you have a better ergonomic setup there. Okay. Another thing that's going to play a factor is inflammation. Like I mentioned earlier, sugar is going to play a factor into that. Okay, and how much inflammation is going throughout the body. When we have more inflammation, we tend to have more pain. We tend to experience more pain. Okay. All right. And another thing that plays a factor into inflammation is, and another factor that's going to play a part into your recovery process is genetics. And unfortunately, can't change genetics, but you guys can see there's a lot of different things that you can control. Okay. So genetics do play a factor into things. And then really just the injury itself. The injury itself is just going to go through a lot of different ups and downs. And also it depends on how well you keep up with your home exercise program or the practitioner that you're seeing, and if you're seeing somebody versus if you're not, right? Obviously, if you're not seeing somebody and getting this taken care of by a professional, you're definitely going to be going through ups and downs and most likely trending in the wrong direction of where you want that injury to go. Okay. So what should you do? You might be like, okay, there's a lot of different things. Like there's a lot of multiple factors that play a part into how I recover from an injury. What should I be doing? Okay. So a big thing is control what you can control. All right. And that goes back to making sure that you're sleeping well, that your stress is in check, your nutrition is where it needs to be, right? Make sure that you were seeing somebody for this and the right practitioner for you to that's going to help you get back to where you want to go and the goals that you want to achieve. Okay. Another thing is don't get too high and don't get too low. And this is something that we have frequent conversations with our PTs or our PTs have with our patients is don't get too high, don't get too low. A lot of times when patients come in for an evaluation and then like their subsequent 1 or 2 sessions, they usually are seeing huge uptick in feeling a lot better. Okay. All right. But we let them know like, hey, there's going to be ups and downs. Okay. With that. So I'm glad you're feeling better. All right. But big thing is there will be some downturns. Okay. Big thing is don't get too caught up in the highs or don't get too caught up in the lows. All right. As long as you're trending in the right upward direction, that's what truly matters. Okay. If you're going in that right direction. Okay. Another thing is also uh, going into the injury, knowing that there's going to be ups and downs is huge. But another thing is look at and reflect on, especially like during the times that you may be having a setback, reflect back on when this injury first happened and how limited it was that you were and now where you're at today. Okay. So for example, we have a lot of patients that will come in and we always ask them how are you feeling and whatnot. Oh, I'm having about the same pain that I was having as last time, but I was able to, I was able to run for the first time, or I was able to walk a mile for the first time, right? So you might be having the same amount of pain, but your tolerance for activity is increasing. That is a win. Okay, so it's important to. That's another thing too is don't get too caught up in pain. Okay, reflect on what your body's able to do now with the same amount of pain, but you're at an increased level for activity and what your body can tolerate. Okay, so anyways, hopefully all that helps, guys, to give you guys an insight into why the rehab process isn't a linear process. Unfortunately, we wish it was. It'd make our lives a lot easier and our jobs that much more enjoyable too if it was. But unfortunately, it's not the reality. A lot of times there's going to be ups and downs. So if you're going through a high right now and you're feeling great, that's awesome. Enjoy that. Just mentally prepare yourself that there will be sometimes that there's going to be a downturn. Okay. And it's just how you respond to that and make sure that you're going in the right direction. Okay. And if you're in a downturn right now, you're like, oh, I was feeling so much better and I feel like I'm taking a step back. Just know that is a normal part of the process and don't get too worried about that. Okay. Again, take a step back, look at the big picture and seeing how your recovery process is. So anyways, hopefully that was helpful, guys. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your week.